few weeks ago, I had a great hour-long phone conversation with a friend on the future of X and Elon Musk's approach on building the platform. It was a vigorous debate where he and I commonly landed on opposite sides of the aisle, but with full understanding of each other's positions. The conversation really helped me understand how folks like him are viewing the evolution of X. His background includes branding and media, so it was tremendously helpful for me to understand how someone like him views X's decisions from the lens of an industry veteran. It also helped me crystallize my thoughts on what X is doing to the media landscape, and as I talked through it with him, a number of things clicked for me. And also for him, although I'm not sure if I changed his mind on any of it. To illustrate this, I like to use an example that's all too familiar to folks that follow the Tesla story closely. The oftentimes negative slant that legacy media appears to take in relation to anything Tesla related, and by proxy, anything Elon related. In my conversation, my friend laid out a dynamic that commonly plays out in legacy media. We will call this the game. The game has 7 parts. A story is identified related to Tesla either by a journalist or by a competitor to Tesla that is quote-unquote fed to the journalist. These stories often have a negative slant to them. Tesla safety is suffering, Tesla sales are suffering, Tesla range is worse than expected, etc. In the world of media, you are more likely to draw eyeballs to your publication if you run a story that has a negative, fearful slant. Human beings are naturally more likely to click on things that create fear mainly due to our survival mechanisms as a species. Test this out yourself next time you click on a YouTube video or article. Which one draws your attention more, a negative headline or a positive one? As the publication is writing the story, they will reach out to the party in question, in this case Tesla, asking for comment on said story so that they can capture quote-unquote all sides. Because Tesla has no public relations department, the publications are met with silence, at which point they are almost quote-unquote forced to run the story without comment from Tesla. This commonly results in a story that is crafted to maximize views for the publication, yet doesn't have the full picture because of Tesla's lack of PR. This, of course, upsets everyone involved at Tesla, both directly and fans, investors of the company for obvious reasons. And then the cycle repeats. Under this scenario, my friend's solution is that Tesla should invest in a PR department so that they can have representation in the game. If we use an analogy, what I just described is a game of football between the legacy media journalists, Tesla's competition, and Tesla. In one scenario, Tesla's competition is one team, while Tesla is the other. The football itself is a journalist. In another scenario, Tesla is one team, while the journalist is the other team. The football is a story. If Tesla doesn't field a team, their opposition will constantly score touchdowns. Tesla is not playing the game, and they are suffering in the eyes of the public because of it. There are also situations where the journalist and the competition to Tesla are on the same team, and Tesla would have to face 2 teams. But let's be nice and give legacy media the benefit of the doubt. A simple solution to playing the game would be for Tesla to field a team. In theory, this would be a low-cost, low-effort investment by the company related to the rest of the business. Tesla can make itself available at all times to legacy media publications looking to run a story, and they can always have representation versus legacy media. However, this is where my friend and I spent most of our time disagreeing. Gary thinks that Tesla's ability to play the game should be a no-brainer because it's a low-cost, low-effort, high-reward investment, mainly due to the amount of eyeballs on legacy media and its ability to shift public opinion. Add the fact that it would require no more than a 5 to 10 person team, which would be a fraction of a percent of Tesla's yearly net income. However, I personally strongly disagree with this assessment because, in my opinion, the game is fundamentally rigged and it should not be played. Have you ever played a game where you felt that the rules were unfair? This is how I perceive the landscape of legacy media. As described, legacy media is more akin to a propaganda as a service company. If you are a company that has invested heavily in public relations, legacy media is more likely to run stories that are beneficial to your cause. If you are a company that has no investments in PR, you are at a massive disadvantage. If you depend on the journalist and editor to be neutral as it pertains to the story, you are in a world of hurt because the publication is heavily dependent on eyeballs. Eyeballs come at a much higher rate from negative, fearful stories versus positive ones. Therefore, if one is dependent on a journalist and editor to be neutral and exercise quote-unquote journalistic integrity, which in this day and age is hard to understand, especially in a situation where media publications are desperate for revenue, you are going to experience nothing but pain. Therefore, by default, the game is not fair. It is heavily influenced by companies that have invested in public relations, and given today's day of how media is monetized, it does not pay to be neutral. It pays to be inflammatory. But this is where X comes in. Have you ever heard the saying, don't hate the player, hate the game? I think Elon has taken this to heart and he's saying, screw the game, I'm going to make my own game. The new game in this case is a platform where the dynamic of companies capable of crafting narratives in the eyes of the public through PR and legacy media, also known as propaganda as a service companies, is eliminated. Instead of folks relying on legacy publications to get their information, the vision is they will come to X to get it straight from the source. No middleman legacy media outlet, no journalist looking to write a story to bring eyeballs to a publication, no PR department that can craft a narrative by leveraging legacy media's megaphone, none of that. It's all from the source directly to your eyes and ears with community notes as a layer to minimize deception and maximize truth. Under this scenario, X is legacy media's biggest competitor. Therefore, it should surprise no one when we see stories of X's perceived demise in legacy media. There is a negative incentive for legacy media to run positive stories related to X. Now, there are two variables that need to be solved for X to be successful in creating this new game. Bring as many eyeballs to X so that your viewership exceeds that of legacy media by an order of magnitude or more, and ensure that you can fund your operations while you execute your goal. If we look at X's long-term strategic goal as it moved from a public to private company, the company is looking to minimize its reliance on advertiser revenue to fund the company and is looking to diversify its revenue streams with financial services, subscriptions, AI tools, marketplaces, etc. The thought here is to remove the risk of quote unquote saying the wrong thing, destroying your ability to stay alive as a business. In a world where X is the free speech platform, this is not only important, but necessary. Perhaps with this knowledge in mind, it shouldn't be a surprise Elon is not afraid to post controversial stuff on X. Perhaps he's training the team to get used to this new world. However, in order to gauge if this strategy will be successful, one needs to look no further than Elon's two biggest ventures, Tesla and SpaceX. Tesla's success with little to no advertising speaks for itself, and so does SpaceX, sending 80% of the Earth's mass to orbit in 2023, with that number likely to get larger with the launch of Starship. We can also throw PayPal in there as well, the venture that allowed Elon to gather all his resources and nearly lose it all with the founding of Tesla and SpaceX. As X continues to build out its product offering, optimize its UI, and maximize for what the company calls unregretted user minutes on the platform, it should achieve both goals of bringing more eyeballs to the platform and become profitable without reliance on advertiser revenue. We're already seeing that the platform has more users today than when the acquisition closed a little over a year ago, so that trend is already going in this direction. And as financial and AI services continue to launch, X's ability to raise funds to keep the company running should quickly follow. And in due time, if execution remains high, my prediction is that what we call the game today will disappear, and instead we'll live in a world where there'll be a new game in town. This game will feature individual voices much more prominently. Citizen journalism will carry a premium. Companies that are willing to engage their customers directly will have an outsized advantage. And folks that continue to force the rules of the old game will continually look out of touch and impossible to trust, mainly due to the fact that X will house what's already going on, instead of what will obviously be a PR-funded piece. Elon Musk disrupted the space industry, he disrupted the auto industry, and now with X, it is becoming increasingly clear that he's disrupting the media industry. I want to give huge thanks to my friend for being so kind with his time. I was able to go to battle with my ideas versus his, and it really highlights how important it is to surround yourself with people that you respect that can constantly challenge you. And this dynamic is already happening on X. Shouldn't that be a clue? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching.